So, I'm going to talk about relationships, and in particular, I'm going to talk about toxic relationships. So, doesn't matter who you are, I'm sure anybody watching this video has at some point in their life encountered someone that it doesn't have to necessarily be a romantic partner, but it could even be family members. I hate to say it, friends, people you work with, professional peers, and the relationship becomes toxic. So there are three key steps when it comes to overcoming toxic relationships. First and foremost, you have to firstly identify that you are in a toxic relationship. And there's many factors and many symptoms that would make you realise that you are in a toxic relationship. And to be perfectly honest as well, I have been in a toxic relationship with someone, and I will draw upon my own experiences as well, because I think it will highlight a lot of the key issues I'm trying to address here as well. So when it comes to trying to identify the toxic relationship, a lot of the time the other person will make you feel inadequate, will punish you for your virtues. So like when you're trying to grow and develop as a person and they're not growing with you as a person in the relationship, they will attack you and they will criticize you for trying to grow, because it simply it projects in their head it reflects in their head their own insecurities and inadequacies about themselves. So when they see you grow, they can't be happy for you. They become defensive and attack you because they can't stand the fact that you're growing and they're not. So that should be a major red flag. Feeling like you have to be someone you're not, feeling like you can't be your genuine self, is another factor or symptom of being in a toxic relationship. If you're with somebody who, loves you for who you are and allows you to express yourself fully without judging, without criticizing you, then that person is right for you, and that is a healthy, congruent relationship. But in a toxic relationship, a lot of the time you're going to be controlled and manipulated by the other person, and they are not going to like you expressing your genuine self and genuine being. So other sort of signs and symptoms of being in a toxic relationship are that the other person at any opportunity will put you down and will try to make you do things that you don't necessarily want to go along with, but you go along with it anyway just to please the other person, because you may be blinded by love and you'll do it anyway. Make you think things that you don't really agree with either, and agree to things that you don't really agree with either. So moving on to step 2 of overcoming toxic relationships. This sounds mad, and I can understand why it does, but you have to keep a record of the behaviour of this person that you believe is toxic. Now, I believe the most effective means of doing that would be through journaling, and just keeping a journal and just writing down. Like, you don't have to be like a detective and write down every time the person says something that makes you feel bad about yourself, makes you do something that you don't want to do and isn't congruent with what you want and value in life. But just, a few times, don't be afraid to write down times where they've upset you, or maybe it's the 4th time that they said they were going to do something but didn't do it. They didn't keep their word. Maybe it was their 5th time that they had argued about a particular thing. It might seem quite obsessive to be like that, but when it comes to relationships, especially if it's an intimate relationship with your partner, you want to do everything to optimize that relationship. You don't want to be living with someone that you will grow to resent. You don't want that. That will only create problems within you, and it'll make you feel physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally unfulfilled, and maybe even cause illness, and it just isn't healthy, fundamentally. And so the third and final step, and probably the hardest step, is actually confronting the person and having a conversation with them. And this is always going to be difficult because the automatic reaction from this person is going to be a defensive reaction, because they're going to see it as an assault on them as a person, and their ego is going to kick in overdrive, because a lot of, like, somebody who is toxic is just probably more often than not quite narcissistic, and is just going to think that they're right. That's another sign of being in a toxic relationship. The person you're with always thinks they're right. It's always the lexicon, the language they always use is I, me, rather than you or we. It's just their way or no way, so to speak. So at this point, you'll probably have two options. You either talk to the person, well, you're going to talk to the person anyway and have this conversation, but you'll have two options from that point onwards. And that is, if you want to maintain the relationship and transform the relationship, you have to explicitly outline how you feel about the relationship, how you feel in relation to the other person, how the other person is making you feel. Is the person making you feel inadequate? Is the person not fulfilling a lot of the needs that you need in a relationship? So you identify and you express your own feelings to the other person, and you highlight to the other person the things that they are doing that are toxic and not serving you, and ultimately not really serving them either. And if the person, you would like to think hopefully the person takes it on board and doesn't see it as an attack, and learns from it and grows from it as a person. If they don't, and it just leads into an argument, and they are completely defensive and not receptive to the request you're making to transform the relationship, and transform the relationship to a more loving, caring relationship, then, as hard as it is to say, maybe it just isn't right to be with that person. You have to lay it all out on the table. Give this person an ultimatum. Say, listen, I love you as a person, but if you're not willing to grow with me and you're not willing to transform this relationship, then I simply cannot be with you, and it will not serve us to be with each other any longer, and I need to move on in order to be fulfilled and happy in my own life. And you're not really going to be happy and fulfilled in the long run either, because I will grow to resent you. So this is quite a deep and, how would you say, quite a personal topic. And it is something that affects everybody. It's affected me many times. However, I will say that in any toxic relationship I ever was in the past, I grew immensely from it as a person and learned so many life lessons that going forward in future relationships, I will strive to not repeat those mistakes. And if the same sort of pathological behaviour manifests in somebody that I will then become in a relationship with, then I simply know what to do, and I simply will either try to maintain the relationship and sort of ameliorate the problems of the relationship and transform it, or I will simply let that person go. No ifs or buts about it. So thank you for watching the video, and if you have any feedback or you want to talk about stuff in greater detail, don't be afraid to drop me a DM. It is quite a personal and intimate topic, but I'm not afraid to fucking talk about shit like this, because I know people will resonate with it, and it's hard to figure out these things on your own. So thank you for watching, and I appreciate and love y'all.